fell in love with, the three of us fell in love with, especially me, when I first saw the trailers and everything and heard that it was coming. It wasn't even called NT at the time, it was called Arcade. And I'm talking about Final Fantasy Dissidia AC NT. Whether you're here in the States, yo, what is going on, Nexus? It has been a while. It has been a couple months, maybe, since the last G.0 episode came out. Not going to get too much into detail on what was going on. Well, actually, I am. Just a little bit. So, I have been busy. So, G.0 was kind of put on hold. There's a huge convention coming up for Battle Eterna that I am working on. And if you don't know what that is, YouTube channel, Battle Eterna, you know all about that. The convention's actually in 3 days now. And yeah, these things take a lot of time to prepare for if you want to come out correctly. So that's why G.0 hasn't been around. And there was a little bit of trouble in paradise, but we weeded out all that crap. And now we are here. We are back. And I actually have to re-record this episode because episode 3, before this episode 3, is now retconned because Dead by Daylight did a few things that I talked about in the previous episode, or in this episode's past tense. Anyways, so we are going to do a solo queue, Patch G.0, and we are going to be talking about Dead by Daylight. I know my phone just went off, so let me just put that on silent so that we don't get disturbed. There we go. Okay, so this Patch G.0, we are solo queuing, and we are going to be talking about Dead by Daylight. We are going to be giving it the good old rework, our thoughts, and whatever that we have for it, for you fog dwellers, for the entity, for you survivors, for you killers, to get everything out the way. We are coming back, and we are coming back strong. We are coming back strong. So, let's get this G.0 episode on the go. I see that my voice wave is like entering the red a little bit. So let me just turn down the gain just a little. You see how much my gain is right now? Let's just turn that down. Okay. I think that will be okay. I think that's okay. So, Dead by Daylight. I used to be an avid player of the game. Or you could say I was an iridescent player of the game. I used to play Dead by Daylight. I stopped. Who was the last killer that I interacted with in Dead by Daylight? I think it was Trickster. Yeah, I stopped Trickster ago. And the reason as to why I stopped playing was because the game felt redundant. It felt like I was doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And I really didn't like that. I really didn't like that the game only has one way to play. I mean, fans will argue that there is many ways to play the game, and they have their separate, here's the killer rule book, here's the survivor rule book. That's all nonsense. Okay? All that's nonsense. The way the game is designed is the way the game should play. I know fans really want this game for whatever reason to be a competitive game, but it's not. It's not a competitive game. So, yeah, you know, it's a hard casual. And what I mean by hard casual is it's a casual game that facilitates sweaty people. Because at the end of the day, it's you against somebody else. And when there is a PvP aspect to anything, there are going to be people who are going to try and be the best at this particular game mode. And this is the only game mode that Dead by Daylight has. So the problem with Dead by Daylight for me, as I said before, was there was only one way to play, and I really hate the farm simulators that some people want to do. Like, I don't want to farm, and I know that's a big, like, what? But I really don't. I just want to play the game. You know, I've already spent 1 hour in the pregame lobby. I don't want to spend 2 more hours running around with you guys because you want to crouch up and down and run around in circles and play follow the leader or some BS. I don't want to do that. I just want to play the game. And here's the problem. If you're in a farm lobby and you decide you want to play, everyone's going to do what they can to get you out of the game. How dare you play Dead by Daylight? We're here to farm blood points. So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how I would make Dead by Daylight more interesting. And the first thing I would do is make 2 separate playlists. Ranked and casual. I feel like there needs to be a ranked and a casual mode. Because there are a lot of people who don't want to sweat and just want to just play. And then there's the rule book of survivors and the rule book of killers. Then there's those guys and gals who really, really want that metaphorical I am the best number to be, I guess in this term, the lowest, because like the lower you go, the better you are. They want their number to be as low as possible so that they can flex to all the people at the barbecue. So, I feel like a casual and a ranked playlist will definitely help. But it's gotta be, like, ranked's gotta be more geared towards a competitive feel. And what I mean by that is, for instance, right now in Dead by Daylight, you can have 4 of the same survivors in the same skins with the same perks. And you just stack them on top of each other. For me, in a competitive environment, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. Especially because I have played competitive games competitively. So I kind of understand what it takes to make a competitive environment. I kind of understand. Plus, did I mention I'm making a game that's geared towards being competitive? Battle Eterna. So, what I would do in terms of ranked, I would not allow same characters to be selected. You cannot have 2 Daves, you cannot have 2 Dwights, you cannot have 2 Jakes, you can't have quadruplets, triplets, or twins. You have this one character, and this one character is adept. You know what I'm saying? So, this one character can only use their abilities +1. And that +1 will be like Spine Chill or something that just, you know, you can just get in the entity's blood web without prestiging any characters. These are universal perks that you can put on for your 4th slot. So this would create team compositions. This would create builds, team building, team composition, same thing, right? And play styles as well. You need a team medic, you're going to have a Claudette. You need someone who can run the killer, you might go with Meg or Fang. David for his Dead Hard. I know they reworked the hooks and everything like that so that it's harder to camp, but it's still not impossible. But it's harder. It's a thing you can't get rid of, in my opinion. There is one way, but we'll get to that. So that's what I would do for ranked. And of course, their MMR is not the most impressive, so they need to fine tune that a little bit to be like, okay, bronze to gold rank people will be in a lobby. And then gold to diamond rank will be in a lobby. I know that's not how they rank their stuff. I think it goes ash, bronze, green, purple, red. I think that's how it goes. Someone in the comments down below, correct me if I am wrong, but I believe that's how it goes. So, we have 5 ranks that we need to achieve, and there are 4 tiers within that rank. So, I would have ash players queue in with bronze players. Yeah. I'd have ash and bronze players in a lobby. Then I would move that to bronze to green to purple. And then from there, it would be purple to red. Yeah, I think that would make more sense. Maybe I even throw green in there. Green, purple, red. But if you're a green rank, like if you have a green party, then you cannot queue into bronze or ash people. There is a gold rank. There's a yellow rank. There's a yellow rank. Yes, there is a yellow rank. So there's 6 ranks in total. Okay, so I would make ash, bronze. Is it bronze? Is there a bronze? I feel like I'm making this rank up. I don't know why. Okay. Ash, bronze, gold will be one lobby pre-built thing, and just like Apex Legends, depending on the rank of your teammates will depend on who you can queue in with. So you can't just be a iridescent player playing with an Ash player. You just can't. That will not work. They have to be a certain tier in order to play with you, and if not, then you guys gotta go do casuals together. I know it sucks, but it's probably the best way to sort out this MMR nonsense where you don't have one iridescent player teaming up with 3 Ash players against an iridescent killer. So there needs to be limitations on it. I know that sucks. I know we all have friends. Some of us are good, some of us are bad, but this is ranked. Everybody's got to be good. So I would go with that for the rank system. And for gaining RP, rank points, for those of you who don't know, it would have to be a little bit different to get RP in this game. For the survivors, of course, completing generators would get you RP. There should be chase time. So killer distraction, killer occupation. When you're occupying the killer's time. You're in a chase, however long that chase lasts for, you get RP for X amount of seconds, minutes, whatever. Right? So you get rank points towards that because, you know, chases do matter. Chases are what makes the game. As much as a certain developer may believe otherwise. I am located in Toronto. So I will use an example from my Canadian roots. As a Canadian, I will use hockey as my example. If I, a single player, have the puck and I am approached by 3 oppositions and I take the puck, put it through his legs, so I pass one guy, regain control of the puck, I spin, deke out the other guy, one more guy in my way, I perform a feint slap shot, he takes the bait, I go around him, I get to the goalie, right? So I got through 3 players on my own. I take the shot. Goalie blocks the shot. Damn it. Shot doesn't go in. Was that really a skill play? Listen. Patrick, my dog. Listen. I feel like if you haven't played competitively in games, you shouldn't have an opinion on how to structure a competitive environment. I get this is your game and everything like that, but no, you got it wrong there, bud. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. Listen. As long as you have the killer occupied, that should do something, because the longer you keep the killer occupied, even if you die for it or the whole team gets wiped for it, whatever the case may be, even if he 4Ks you, the fact that you had the killer's attention for as long as you did gives your teammates the chance to set up points, to put points on the board, to put gens on the board, to rescue somebody, to find totems, whatever. I feel chasing, or the chase, is what makes Dead by Daylight Dead by Daylight. So I would definitely reward players for chase duration. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. So far, we got gens and chase duration that goes towards your RP. The next thing is teamwork. Saving people from hooks. Healing people. Well, I don't know about healing people. No, not healing people. Because then people will just, no, not healing. Just saving people from hooks. I'll say that. Because when a survivor gets sacrificed, you lose a game completion bonus. which is your escape. Escaping from the trial, depending on how many people escape, will multiply your RP by X amount or whatever. You'll get a bump in RP because you guys escaped. The more people that escape, the more RP you have. The higher or the lower your rank is. So when you hit iridescent, like, it's very essential that all 4 of you escape to get every bang for your buck in terms of getting these rank points. But if one guy gets sacrificed, it's going to hurt your rank. It's going to hurt. It's going to be very hard to go positive now because someone is dead. So saving people from hooks and escaping, definitely, are ways that I would go with adding rank points. Taking protection hits and healing and all that stuff, I don't think that should go towards rank points. We're going to keep it down to the nitty-gritties of everything. Totem cleansing is a part of objectives, so I would put that in. I let that give a smaller amount than completing a gen per se. Like, if a gen gave you 2 points, a totem will give you 1 point. Right? These are just fictional numbers, by the way. So, what about the killer? Well, in terms of the killer, I would make it so that every time a killer downs a survivor, they gain RP. Every time a killer hooks a survivor, they gain RP. I wouldn't even say down because they can farm that. I would say every time a killer hooks you, they gain RP. Yeah, every time a killer hooks you, they gain RP. And depending on the amount of survivors that they get sacrificed by the end of the game, will multiply how high their RP goes. And depending on how many survivors escape, well, they take a negative impact on their RP. It's the same thing with survivors. When a survivor dies, you get a negative impact on your RP, right? So, and that is the only way for your RP to actually decrease, but it would decrease pretty rough, I would say. I would even say for survivors, if a survivor goes down, their RP, like the team's RP, goes down as well. Because if they have no negative repercussions, then it's very easy to rank up in this game. You need negative repercussions. So I would say when survivors go down, all survivors lose RP. This makes everybody want to coordinate better. This makes people want to work together more and look out for each other and heal each other more, or give up that god tier medkit that they found. By the way, for ranked, you cannot carry items into the trial. You must find them in the map. But when you do find them, they will be purple tier. I think basement should guarantee an iridescent item. There will be a box that will contain a purple tier, and then there will be boxes that contain greens. Yeah, and I would totally get rid of the brown tier, personally. So, yeah, I would do that. Killer down somebody. Yep. When survivors get saved by a hook, the only time the killer loses RP is at the end of the trial, I would say. Or when he loses chase. Winning chases will get him RP. Losing chases, the survivors will also, whatever potential RP they built will go away. So as you're in a chase, right, there's this number growing in a different color compared to your rank points. So let's say your rank points number is white. You'll have these yellow numbers just climbing up and up and up and up and up, right? And then, boom, the killer gets you. That number gets slashed out, and you don't get those points. But the killer will get those points if the killer downs you. But if you escape the killer, then you get those points, and the killer does not get those points. That's how that will work. Yeah. And it'll just be locked in to you. So, yeah, I would say that's a way to work the ranking system. Of course, there's more nuances that we can get into, but then this video would be an hour long just talking about how we can rank up. And we don't want to do that. We got to talk about other things as well, so let's talk about other things. How else would Dead by Daylight become an interesting game, a game that would compel people to play? So, we talked about rank a little bit, and there's a lot more that we can talk about down in the comments below. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about it more. I'll make a hot fix reading out your comments, and we can talk, and I will read your comments out loud, answer questions, etc., etc. But let's continue. So, the next thing I would add in Dead by Daylight is a single player mode. Single player story mode. This game is not a horror game, in my opinion. Nobody's really scared. Nobody is really terrified. Some people even want to play with the killer per se, which I think is ridiculous for a horror game. But it is what it is. Because there's a player that's controlling the killer, you know that at the end of the day you can outsmart this killer. So I think that gives away the illusion of horror. My suggestion would be a story mode. You have the archives that tell you the story, but what if you had to play through entity trials designed by the story? It doesn't even have to be voice acted either. It could literally be character portrait text. Right? And, you have these objectives. Meg's been hooked and we gotta go get Meg. But these are on story exclusive maps now. And sometimes you'll be dealing with multiple killers controlled by an AI. You have to do multiple things and whatnot. So I feel like a story mode would definitely add more to the environment of Dead by Daylight. It would add more to... It add another layer, a fresh layer to Dead by Daylight for you to just go in and play a story and uncover the secrets of the entity per se. And yeah, just have a single player mode to just go through and enjoy. Speaking of uncovering secrets, I would also say that we should have a open world lobby called the Fog Dwellers. And or fog dwelling, or whatever you want to call it, because I know we are called fog dwellers in that game, but I would call it fog dwelling. And when you go to fog dwelling, you can pick an avatar, killer, survivor, and when you load in, you just load into a random point in the map, maybe a home area where all the players load into, and it's literally just a lobby that you run around in, this big open world per se. Probably not too big, maybe it is big, but a big open world that you just walk around in and you can explore. You can go to the Mac Miller estate and you can go into the trapper's shacks or his home and open drawers, look in his bedroom, and uncover lore that you wouldn't know unless you went to these places. There's hidden lore for you to find. Maybe you can find some hidden charms, some bonus blood points somewhere out there. As both survivor and killer, you're just in there, running around, enjoying the fog, interacting with players, also in the world of Dead by Daylight, going to secret hidden areas. Maybe there'll be a jump scare here or there, something lore-wise here or there. Maybe previous players or previous characters that were pulled into the fog before the time of Dwight and everybody, and you see their dead bodies and you uncover more lore, and you learn a lot basically about the world of Dead by Daylight. If not the story mode, I think this would be a good alternative to just run around. It's basically like Mortal Kombat's Crypt. Yeah, it's basically like a Mortal Kombat Crypt. You're just going around in this environment and you're finding things, you're discovering things, you're learning things. It doesn't even have to be an open lobby. It could just be a single player thing that you do. Perhaps it should be a single player thing that you do, because I feel like the more people you have, the less you get rid of the fear factor. But I feel like if it's just you in this environment, so I wouldn't even say you can pick a killer avatar then. You have to be a survivor avatar. And you're just in this environment by yourself, the ambience, everything like that. It's crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. You enter the shack. If you spend too long in, let's say, the trapper's shack, the next time you turn around, bam, he'll be right there, and he'll be trying to kill you. And if he kills you, then you just go back to the beginning. But if you can escape him or whatever the case may be, and you just explore the area, You might find some new secrets because you triggered the killer to stalk you or something like that. Yeah, I would definitely do something like that. Or you go to like to the gas haven and you open a trunk and you see like the dead body of like the Wraith's father, and you can like pick his pockets to find out something hidden in the lore or something. Like I think that would be very interesting and very fun to do, especially as a solo act. As a single player, if done correctly, you re-implement the horror aspect, and I would say make it first person, not third person, where people can peek over their shoulders or look around the corner. They need to, like, if they're making this corner, they need to be sure that they want to make this corner. Have these doors that are just like, I think there's something in there and I don't know if I want to go in there, kind of a thing. So I think it'd be crazy, especially on Silent Hill. Especially with Silent, but then there might be some licensing issues. But if they could, can you imagine exploring the Midwich Elementary School, not just like the stage, but more to it, like the open world of Midwich, to uncover Silent Hill lore and Pyramid Head lore and how he came to be with the entity and everything like that? Is he here to destroy the entity, or is he just here because he wants to kill us all? Like, I feel like this fog dwelling mode would bring in more players to play and produce more content for streamers and people to really want to get immersed in and find secrets and share these secrets. Hey guys, I was at Gas Haven, and you know, by Godloop bus there's like this hidden path that you can take, and if you take the path and go to the left, you know, you find this bell and it does this and that and the third, and it triggers the Wraith Stalker to come and find you. But when the killer stalkers are triggered, more rooms open up to you. So yeah, I really feel like this would be the best way to go. And because the killers will be AI controlled and they'll have special like interactions, like they won't just be following you in a linear path. Sometimes you'll enter a home and they'll despawn, and then when you open a door, they'll spawn right in front of you, like they're already waiting for you there, kind of, because it's a horror aspect, right? Like these guys all have black hole teleporters, okay? So I feel like this fog dwelling mode would definitely be great to have. I think it would be great to have. If you agree, let me know, and if there's more that you would add to it, let me know down in the comments below, because I really like just talking about it. I'm a fan of the idea. Moving on. Now remember, we are solo queuing. How far are we right now? We're 26 minutes in right now. I don't think I can hit an hour by myself of just talking about Dead by Daylight. But so far, we've really hit some of my points already. The next point that I want to bring out: Dead by Daylight needs limited time modes. LTMs for Dead by Daylight. LTMs for Dead by Daylight. And the LTMs I'm talking about are the ones that you guys have always wanted. 8 survivors, 2 killers, LTM. You know, this isn't meant to be taken seriously. This isn't meant to be competitive. This isn't even meant to be balanced. It's just stupid fun. You have 2 killers, 8 survivors, big LTM map with a whole bunch of, you gotta do 10 generators or whatever. It's 5, so like 10 generators or whatever. Everyone's got to split out and do their thing, and there's these 2 killers, you know, so, and it's something that the fans want. Whether it makes sense to you or not as a developer, give the fans what they want. Show them that you care. Show them that you're listening. Find a way to make it work. And even if it doesn't work, it's stupid fun. It's okay for some things to be broken, as long as it's not the core of the game. This is just like I said, an LTM, a limited time mode. For the month of October, this LTM will be available, and then it'll go away, and then maybe it'll come back some other day, or maybe there'll be a new LTM. But 2 killers, 8 survivors is definitely an LTM mode that I would make. Another LTM I would make is 5v5. Fog Dwellers versus the Entity. I don't know what that archive guy, his name is. I think his name is the Alchemist. I'm not sure. Or is that another killer? I don't know. Yeah, I would make a mode where the old man in the chair, he basically is trying to uncover the secrets of the entity and trying to discover ways to escape, etc., 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 right? So I would build something off of that, actually. So I would have him versus the entity. And I don't know what his name is. I really don't know what his name is. But this narrator, I'm going to call him for now. So team narrator versus team entity. And you pick a team, and then you queue into a lobby with teammates, and then you bump into people who have queued into a lobby of the opposite team. So if you're team narrator, you'll form your team, you'll find your team first, and then it will start queuing you with team entity opposing players. Now here's how this works. Both teams have 4 survivors and 1 killer. The killers cannot interact with each other. What do I mean by this? What I mean is they will walk right through each other. They cannot bloody block each other. They cannot hit each other. They cannot interact with each other. Okay? The survivors, they can interact with each other. Enemy survivors can bloody block you and your allies to set up kills for their killers. Right? So, let's say we have this big map. And on one side are blue gens. On the other side are red gens. On one side are blue hooks. And on the other side are red hooks. So here's how this works. Team narrator, blue team. The survivors have to go to the red side and complete their generators to open up the exit door on the red side so that they can escape and destroy the entity. Red survivors have to go to the blue side and do blue generators. So 5 and 5, right? Meanwhile, the killers, narrator killer, blue killer, has to defend the blue generators. Find the red survivors. Down them, hook them, kill them. There are 2 ways to win this game. Method 1, survivors escape. Method 2, killer kills all survivors on the opposing team. Those are the 2 ways. When killer wants to hook a red survivor, you have to hook them on a blue hook. You cannot hook them on red hooks. So if you're like chasing a survivor into red territory or whatever, you gotta down him and carry him back to a blue hook to hook him. That's how that goes. I would even say, just in case survivors start using their side as a safe zone, like they just won't cross over when they're in a chase, they just run back to their side, I would even say forget the red and blue hooks, just make them all neutral hooks. I would even say that. Make them all neutral hooks. And yeah, make it work that way. Just all neutral hooks. That way the killers can freely roam and they won't be limited to a side of the map. Yeah, I like that better. It makes the killers more active. So, yeah, a PvP 5v5 mode. Survivors and killer versus survivors and killer. Narrator side versus entity side. And for the entity side, it doesn't necessarily have to be red team. Like, for example, if you're representing the entity, your killer will have the default or whatever skin you have, but the survivors will be animated in a black, wispy, shadowy kind of a form. But on the narrator side, the survivors will look normal, but the killer will look like this blue, wispy kind of a killer to show that the narrator is using his powers to manifest a copy of a killer. And the entity is using its powers to manifest copies of the survivors. So, yeah, I'd go with something like that. LTMs like that. Another LTM I'd probably make is 4 killers, 4 survivors, and each killer is subscribed to a survivor that they have to hunt and kill. And if, depending on the last survivor standing, that survivor and killer will... hold on, we gotta weed this out a little bit. So, the killers hunt down a survivor exclusive to them. They need to find this survivor. Downing another survivor will just help the other killer. So you don't want to do that. You want to get your survivor. So, once you down your survivor and hook them, then you've come in first place, per se. Other killers can deny you by hitting you to free the survivor on your shoulder and letting him run away. I don't know if I want the killers to interact, because then you set up a lot of troll moments. But you know what? Whatever. This is an LTM. However you guys want to play it, play it. This is the proper way to play it. So you hunt down your survivor. You try to hook your survivor. The last killer to hook a survivor obviously loses the game. And the first killer to hook his survivor wins the game. And you got your first, second, third, and fourth. That's how I would do it. Those are just a couple LTMs. If anybody else has any LTMs in mind for Dead by Daylight, limited time modes that they would like to see, to try and get a feel for, put it down in the comments below and we will talk about it, because I feel like that also gives life to the game. Going back to ranked for a second, just 1 second, I promise, just 1 second. If a killer hooks survivors in the basement, for every survivor they have hooked in the basement, they get a multiplier on top of their rank points. I feel like hooking in the basement is like a bonus add-on, so yeah, I'd say they can do something like that. So what did we go over so far? Story mode, fog dwell mode, PvP ranked and casual mode, and we also covered, what did we cover? We just talked about it. LTMs, limited time modes. I feel like these things will definitely get Dead by Daylight in a bigger light, and it will definitely attract new people to play, because I don't think Dead by Daylight is attracting new players anymore. I feel like the only people who are playing Dead by Daylight are the people who've been playing Dead by Daylight. There is nobody that looks at the game now and be like, this is something I want to try. I don't think that's the case anymore. And if it is, I think it's a rare few. I could be wrong. I know there might be somebody who'd be like, click on this link and throw like numbers and statistics at me. But, for example, I, for one, left the game because the game was boring. That's why I left. It's a boring game. I cannot play that game any longer than 2 hours, which is sometimes just 2 games. But I can't play that game for a long period of time. It's the same game over and over and over and over and over again. I don't like that. Fighting games, that's where I come from. Shooting games, they're different, and they have different ways to play the game. They got arcade mode, mission mode, PvP mode, casual modes. With shooting games, they got campaign mode. They got a firing range that you can just go and play around in. They got casual modes, ranked modes, many maps that have many different layers to it, etc., etc. But with Dead by Daylight, it doesn't... Like, once you play the game long enough, there are streamers who already know where all their palettes are and where all the gens are and all that stuff. So that's the next thing, too. I feel like those things should be randomly generated. I just don't know how they would do it. Because once you figure out where all your palettes are, whatever, you could start playing a certain way that will work always. So yeah, I would definitely do something about that. Map selection, probably. I think in terms of picking maps, I feel like, and people are going to go, oh, you're so killer-sided. But I feel like the killers should determine what map is selected. And survivors can use offerings to challenge that map selection. If all 4 survivors use the same map offering, then they have a 50-50 chance of loading into their map or the killer map. 50-50. And then, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10. And if nobody uses a map offering, then 100% we are going here. Like, we are going here, 100%. Just because, as much as survivors may hate hearing this, This game should be killer-sided. Like, it should be. You should feel powerless. You should feel helpless. You should feel scared. You should feel like you've exercised all your options and there's nothing you can do. That's how you should feel. Because this is a horror game. This is a survival game against all odds game. I feel like the killers should be powerful, or more so than the survivors. I don't think survivors should ever feel compelled to provoke killers in confidence. I don't think they should be able to do that, personally. And again, this is coming from somebody who doesn't believe that Dead by Daylight is a competitive game. So I don't think it needs that much competitive balancing. I think it's okay for one side to not be overwhelming, but to be visibly stronger than the other side. I think that's okay. Then hey, it makes winning that much more sweeter when you're a survivor, right? So, in terms of balancing and whatnot, of course, some killers do need to be balanced in a sense because some of them are kind of useless compared to others. I don't know what the meta has been these days. I stopped playing Trickster ago, but I was keeping up until Nemesis. I was still watching videos when Nemesis came out, but after that, I just got so disinterested in the game. Even watching streamers like Dowsey and Otts and JRM and Noob3, even watching them, I feel like I'm watching the same thing, just with a different voice, per se. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels the same to me. And I know they try their best to do these interesting things to, like, like they're doing challenges. I'm running these perks only. But then eventually they all started doing that. And I don't know. I'm not knocking them. There's only so much that they can do with such a limited game. There's only so much that they can do. So I do appreciate Dowsey's hardcore survivor, hardcore killer thing. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. And I would even say maybe for ranked mode, this might be a little extreme. But hear me out. If you're playing a character and that character dies in the trial, they will not be able... You cannot select them for, let's say, 3 trials. You gotta play 3 games before you can pick them again. And the more people that you lose, the more people that die, you know, you gotta wait it out. Or you can spend blood points to immediately get them back. I think that will create more of a, like, this guy's my best character. I don't know if I want to use him and lose him. Or Fang is my best character. I don't know if I want to lose her just yet. Let me use Jake for now and see how far I get in the ranks. I feel like that'd be a cool idea, because it adds a layer of realism to the game. Like, wow, Jake died, and, you know, for his soul to recover and remanifest, it will take 3 trials. Or you need to win 3 trials in order to get Jake back. And as your characters die, you need to win more to get them back. Or you can spend blood points to get them back right away. That's what I think should happen in ranked mode. So not only are you not allowed to pick the same characters, but if you pick a character and that character dies, well, you better win your next 3 games or however much, or you better have the blood points to get them back. So I think that would add a good realistic layer to it. And it's definitely something that I would incorporate. Something I would incorporate. It gives that more dire feel. And I know for well, what about killers? You know, well, it's hard to do with killers, because if one person escapes, has the killer lost? Like, how does that... I guess, but when you really think about it, the killer did 75%. They did 75% of their job. They killed 3 people. So is that really a loss if one guy gets away? I don't think that should be implemented for killers, unless you, like, entity is dissatisfied, like, you've completely pissed off the entity, like everybody got away, you perform poorly, or, you know, you have to hit a certain amount of blood points to keep your killer soul intact. And if you don't hit these blood points, then your killer soul will need to be re-manifested through blood points, or you have to go in through a trial with another killer, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I feel that's all I have to offer in terms of Dead by Daylight, and in terms of giving it the gold Patch G.0. I think that's all I have to offer. I don't think there's anything more that I can do for the game. Cosmetics and all that other stuff, I'll let you guys figure that out. But yeah, to recap, let's recap and wrap the episode up here. So to recap, ranked mode, casual mode. That's the first thing I would do. Separate the two. Ranked mode and casual mode. You want to farm blood points, go to casual mode. You know what I'm saying? Story mode or / fog dwelling mode. Story mode, you go through the archives and you play in certain maps, but like the story side of the map, you can Easter egg and like look out the window and see like the multiplayer map per se or something like that. Has to be in first person. It must be first person. It must be first person. That is the only way that you can add that extra layer of fear into the game. Fog Dweller, I would like more than just a straight up story mode. I would like to explore and just find Easter eggs and just find lore and run the possibility of bumping into a killer stalker who's trying to kill me, and if he kills me, then I go back to the beginning and I have to probably re-trigger him to come out again or something. Stuff like that. I would like that more. And as the game goes on, you can have different areas of the fog open up. So like, it's year 2 and a new section of the fog has been opened. You can now explore the Midwich Silent Hills area. And you can walk in there and, you can see all these Easter eggs, maybe nurses through windows and whatnot. And then somewhere out there is a pyramid head looking for you. And it doesn't even just have to be the one killer. It could be like the pyramid head and the spirit, maybe. Pyramid head and the nurse stalking you. You're trying to find lore or whatever. I would really, really love a mode like that. I'd probably play that more than the game. So, yeah, ranked mode, casual mode, fog dwelling, story mode. Limited time modes, 2 killers, 8 survivors. 4 killers, 4 survivors. 5v5, narrator versus entity. What else we got? We got limited time modes. We got ranked modes. We got death on characters for rank modes. Stuff like that. I think that's it. Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We are 47 minutes in the previous episode 3 that I recorded. The one that we have now retconned, it was like 51 minutes, so we're a little bit short. But I guess this one happened a lot quicker because I already knew what I wanted to talk about. I already knew the points that I wanted to hit. This was like a freestyle. And the other episode was a cipher. So, if you're into hip hop, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So with that being said, Patch G.0, we are back. I am back. I got a whole convention thing happening this weekend at the Toronto Congress Center, Anime North. So I'm gonna be my hands are gonna be tied there a little bit, doing things for Battle Eterna. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to get G.0 out there as much as possible because it's a segment that I really enjoy doing. I really like doing it. I know if you guys watched the previous 2 episodes, you can feel the energy. You can feel the joy of talking about these what if scenarios and whatnot, and what we would do to make the games better in our opinion, right? So I definitely want to do more G.0. There's definitely going to be more episodes of G.0. To give you guys a feel of what we've recorded, we got one with Destiny, we got one with Def Jam Vendetta. What else? We want to do one with Anthem. Elden Ring. Like we got some stuff. We got some stuff for y'all. So, you know, stay tuned. G.0 is back, and I'm happy to have it back. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Immortal TG is out.